welcome to my channel. If you follow me on Instagram, you may already know that my gold dust day geckos had babies. So I do have a male and a female, and they breed pretty easily, so I knew that I would be getting babies. But, and this is Tron down here, but I didn't know that I would be getting them this soon. So I do know that I have 2 eggs, or I thought I only had 1 set of eggs, and all of a sudden they were babies and the eggs weren't hatched yet, and I had just seen the eggs. So there must have been a pair of eggs that I couldn't see. I do have this little hut that's on the side, and I think they were in there, or at least that's the only place that I would imagine they would be. I don't want to take the hut out. I can't see in it, and I don't want to take it out and disturb everything. And so I'll show you the 2 eggs that are there, and then where I saw one of the babies, which was right beside the 2 eggs that I already knew about. Now these 2 eggs, they're actually wedged in between the glass and the background of the tank. So I made my own background, and this was one of the first ones that I did for this enclosure, and I should have put some silicone, like a silicone bead, along the top so that nothing could get in and behind the background. I didn't think anything could, but they can get really skinny and they're really small, so I guess the geckos, the adult geckos, can get back there as well. Now I don't see anything wrong because they just can go on the top half. They can't go all the way down, and they kind of dip down and then come up. They're never really down there for that long. If I ever do think that this is a problem, I can just when they're take them out of the enclosure and seal it up and then put them back in. So I was really surprised when I found this first baby next to the eggs, and they must have hatched just overnight or kind of in the evening when the lights went out, and I just found them in the morning. So I found this one in the background behind the eggs, and I found the other one actually right on top near the light. So I managed to get them out, and I'll just show you how that went. We've got this girl barking at us. You be quiet. Hey. Hey. What are you doing? Go play with Millie. Okay, so there's the male. I'm not sure where the female is, but the eggs were in there, and they hatched today. So right beside them I have this enclosure, which I was getting ready for these little guys. There. The electric blue day geckos, because they need a bigger enclosure. So there's nothing in here now, which is where I'm keeping these little guys so they get light and the right humidity. So I have them in these containers now, just so that they're able to find their food, and I can kind of watch them and make sure they're eating and they're healthy and all that. These are the guys making all the noise. Penny! Millie! What are you guys doing? You're so cute. And here, there's the other one. So I'll be leaving them in there for not sure how long. We'll see how. I just want to make sure that they're eating and everything's good. I want them to be able to find their food. And then I'm gonna get these guys into their new enclosure and clean this tank. It's really dirty just because I have a real hard time getting in there to clean it, so it'll be a lot easier when they get their much larger enclosure. And then once they're in their larger enclosure, I'm going to put the babies into the smaller one. So after all of that, there has been a change in plans. I decided not to take the electric blue day geckos out of the enclosure that they're in. Now I have one male and 2 females in that enclosure, and they all seem to be getting along and doing really great. I did want to upgrade them because I do think it's better if they would have a bigger enclosure, but I tried and they're absolutely impossible to get out of this enclosure. I tried everything. Even if I kind of destroy the enclosure, take the plants out, they're always going to be able to kind of get in and behind the background where some of the rocks are kind of in the back. It's not a completely shut off background. The glass and the rocks kind of meet. So it would be more dangerous to kind of destroy the enclosure and try and catch them. I think it would be a lot more stressful than just leaving them where they are. So I even put like food in a cup in the bottom, a really tall cup, and they went in the cup, they got their food, and the minute I came near, they just leaped right, they didn't even scurry up the cup, they just jumped from like the bottom up and out. And the cup was tall. I was really surprised. So yeah, that's not happening. So I'm just gonna really clean their current enclosure, maybe see if I can fix it up, but I think it's pretty good. They seem pretty happy. I just definitely need to clean it. And I took another small Exoterra where I kind of set it up. I don't have it super fancy or anything. I do have some live plants and stuff in there, and I set it up for the baby gold dust geckos. So I had the 2 babies in their little containers. They were both eating. They were eating the Pangea gecko mix food, and they were both they were going to the washroom, they were eating, seemed really healthy and everything. But I woke up one night and unfortunately one was lost, and this was right before I was going to put them into their new enclosure. It took a little bit longer than I wanted it to get the second enclosure set up, just because I wasn't expecting these 2. I didn't know they were eggs, and I kind of had a plan to put them where the electric blue geckos were, and it didn't work out. So they were in there a night longer than I wanted them to be, and they were only in the little cups only like less than 2 full days. So it was really unfortunate. I'm not sure what happened or why. The other one is doing great and eating, and so they were sitting on like damp paper towels in the little containers. I misted them. I opened them up and let fresh air. They had a lot of good air circulation and holes in the top. So I don't really know what happened, if it is something that I did, or if there was just, I don't know, just didn't make it. So I unfortunately lost one, and um, I'll just get into the clips now of putting the other one in the enclosure. So he seems to be, has been in there now for, I don't know, all over a week, and he's doing really well. I've seen him eating, and I will soon be introducing the flightless fruit flies. I just had to wait for another culture. I feed them to my frogs, so I had them, but I wanted to make another culture so I would have more and wouldn't run out. So I am almost ready to give the flightless fruit flies to the gecko. So he's eating the Pangea and the flightless fruit flies. So if you have any care tips at all about having eggs or day geckos, baby day geckos, just let me know in the comments below. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.